Juan Williams, Eric Bolling, and Greg Gutfeld. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five. A big surprise at Trump Tower this morning as rap star Kanye West meets with President-elect Donald Trump. Details on what they discuss later. But first, new developments on the transition front. The president-elect confirms he will nominate ExxonMobil CEO Rex Tillerson to be Secretary of State. Former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice praised Tillerson as a, quote, excellent choice. And former Defense Secretary Robert Gates called him a man of great integrity who will protect the interests of the U.S. Many Democrats are raising concerns about Tillerson, but Charles Krauthammer has a warning for those lawmakers.
If the Democrats go after Tillerson on the Russia ties, it will be a delightful festival of hypocrisy. For 20 years, I've been as soft on the Russians as you can come. And then all of a sudden, they have discovered that the Russians are not our friends. So this is quite a flip-flop. And well, look, the famous moment all of us remember, Obama mocking Romney for saying that the Russians are a big threat. Now, all of a sudden, they're becoming Cold Warriors. I don't think it's going to look very good.
Yes, that's right. We did talk about that a little bit, and that show was after ours. So maybe everybody's watching The Five. Eric, I wanted to ask you something about. Wow. No, that was a compliment to us and to the rest of everybody else at Fox and Charles Krauthammer. Yeah, we're just following his lead over here. One of the things that people usually ask themselves is, why don't more people that are in business ever want to be in government? Now you have a situation where the president-elect is leaving business in order to go into government, and you have the Secretary of State chosen to leave ExxonMobil, a very gigantic company, one of the biggest in the world, to go into government. Good thing.
It's a fantastic thing. I think it's great for America that we can get the titans of business to come over to basically, I mean, this is going to sound terrible, but you make about $205,000 a year as the Secretary of State. This guy probably makes $205 million a year. He says, I'm going to forego that to come over. And it's called public service for a reason. You are serving the public. He could be better suited continuing his career. Now, Rex Tillerson was going to step down, I believe, in a year anyway. He's going to leave Exxon. He's going to retire. I just think it's fantastic to have such successful people in various forms, in various spots in the government. Anytime you can stack your team with the best players from different, it's like a football team, Juan, right? You put the best players on your team. If you got to move a quarterback to wide receiver, go ahead and do it. As long as you have the best athletes on the field, I think Trump is accumulating the best athletes in the political field. But
it isn't without controversy, Juan. So what is your take on this, or what are you hearing from some consternation on the left and the right, especially about possible ties to Russia?
Well, just continuing picking up on Eric's analogy, I think this is bringing in superstars. But the thing is, if you bring in a superstar singer to a football team, people are like, because he has no experience in politics. What you could say is he has experience in dealing diplomatically with leaders of all sorts of foreign nations.
What was that word?
Diplomatically. Diplomatically. That's what I said.
Top diplomat.
No. Different is you're trying to make a profit, or you're trying to understand the best interests of the United States of America. And that's why you hear complaints from people like Amnesty International about human rights records, or that's why you hear complaints from people who are concerned that, in fact, when you talk about issues like climate change, that ExxonMobil, protecting their own profits and interests, has long been trying to downplay the impact of climate change on the world. But you also hear then from Republicans, and this is what I think everybody needs to tune into, because there's a big push on now to get Condi, Rice, Robert Gates, and the Republican establishment to endorse him. But guess what? There are lots of people, McCain, Graham, and others who say, what's this with best friend of Vladimir Putin at a time when we're worried about the effects of the Russian hacking on the election? It just doesn't look good. It's going to be a big confirmation conflagration.
But Kimberly, looking back, though, when Romney was a candidate for president and he brought up concerns about Russia, the left, especially even President Obama during the re-election campaign during that debate, mocked him
and was dismissed.
And now the left is worried about Russia. I have concerns about Russia too, but I mean, it's a little hard to swallow that now all of a sudden they're concerned about Russia on the left.
Right. I mean, but
the right's always concerned.
But this is just another example of the height of liberal hypocrisy, and this is just another attempt, a poor, weak attempt to try to cast aspersions on a very strong pick, somebody who's a patriot who wants to serve the this country who's highly regarded by those that we admire, like Condoleezza Rice, who suggested this pick to the president-elect Donald Trump. And I have a quote here from Rex Tillerson I think is pretty compelling. He said, "The global free market for energy provides the most effective means of achieving U.S. energy security by promoting resource development, enabling diversification, multiplying our supply channels, and encouraging efficiency and spurring innovation." Those principles and that specific ideology can be applied to the Secretary of State position. You want somebody who is not going to be duped or fooled by these international foreign leaders. There's a lot at stake here in terms of what we're dealing with overseas, a lot of the number of conflicts that we're engaged in. This is somebody who isn't just brand new to the table, that's not going to have any idea. He's going to be well versed in what's happening internationally and be able to apply his skills of diplomacy that he used on behalf of Exxon to take it to business grades on behalf of the United States.
I did hear some interesting criticism today, Greg. Actually, I read it about because Rex Tillerson has been in the corporate world so much, and he's been a good soldier in terms of ExxonMobil, and doesn't talk about anything. So nobody really knows what his personal political philosophy is, which doesn't necessarily bother me, but gives others some pause.
Well, we know that Robert Gates and Condi likes him. Has nothing to do with the fact that they might have worked for him. But anyway, this is
Exxon was a client of their company.
Yeah, the two words here are pendulum swing. We're moving from babies to adults. Imagine it's Donald Trump is essentially coming home from work, and he's having all the little kids put on their jammies and sending them to bed while he goes to play bridge and drink gin. That is what you're seeing metaphorically with what's happening in this shifted administration. Think about all the childlike fantasies that we've had to tolerate for the last 8 years. No use for fossil fuels. Let's look at windmills. No use for law enforcement. Let's talk about peace marches. No use for anti-terror actions. Let's talk about tolerance. No use for borders. Let's talk about white privilege instead. So every nomination that we're seeing right now is an act of progress towards an ending this protracted adolescent behavior that we've seen for 8 years. We're actually seeing adults entering the house and the children leaving.
You're telling me that I should believe that Donald Trump is the adult?
No, if you look at these are all adults who understand how the world works. The world works on a commodity, oil. Fossil fuels. It doesn't work on windmills and solar power. We also have to think about how is civilization run? Law enforcement.
Well, there was another movement on the transition front because even though not officially announced, it does look like Rick Perry, the former governor of Texas, Eric, is going to become the Secretary of Energy. That was actually, I think it was the one that he forgot to mention during his debate, or the one that he wanted to eliminate.
Yeah, and clearly the reason why, if this ends up being the pick, I think Donald Trump was probably looking for the guy who had the most experience in the state of Texas with energy production. At the time, I guess, I think energy production could actually expand throughout the country, and Texas will be a big player in that. But I believe fracking is the way of the future, and that would happen a lot towards the middle part of the country, upper north part of the country as well. Look, Rick Perry, great guy, really solid guy. Again, I like the business guys, though. There are a lot of heads of oil companies, energy companies, international drillers, pipeline companies that I would like to see in the Secretary of Energy field, because look, Donald Trump has said we're going to expand our energy production, make us energy self-sufficient. That's fantastic. There's a reason why the Dow is 50 points away from 20,000 for the first time ever. There's a reason why small business outlook, their optimism levels are soaring. They're exploding off the chart because of, number one, lower corporate taxes, but also cheap energy. If you think of what's going on over the last 10 years, the biggest overhang is a company starts to get going, whether it's a producer, a transporter, a seller, and oil prices shoot up, gas prices shoot up, and they go, we can't afford to do business anymore in America. When you keep oil prices low, as Greg points out, the economy, the big boys, the adults in the room do better, and business thrives.
Juan, I like this point that I saw earlier, that Jill Stein, the Green Party candidate that pulled votes away from Hillary Clinton in important states like Florida, for example. I don't know if that would have made the difference for her, but because of Jill Stein being there, Hillary Clinton let's just say that you agree with me that maybe Florida could have gone to Hillary's way if Jill Stein hadn't pulled those votes away from her. But now we end up with President-elect Donald Trump, who has appointed to his cabinet the Attorney General from Oklahoma, who is a thorn in the environmentalist side, Rex Tillerson, the CEO of Exxon, and now Rick Perry, the governor of Texas, who will be an energy fossil fuel advocate. What do you think of that?
Well, I think it's ironic, isn't it? Because I think the left is getting sort of their comeuppance, because here you had a moment where people who were in love with Bernie Sanders say, oh, you know, Hillary Clinton's kind of blasé, status quo. I'm not going to vote, especially in states like North Carolina, but you can go up north into Michigan. You know, a lot of people, far left, just said, no, can't take it. And guess what? This is what you got now. Because to me, it's like the barnyard door is open and you get people, you know, who are, Eric says, oh, great businessmen, great talent. But they have a businessman's view of the world. Their interest is in money and in making themselves and the rich richer.
Innovate and efficiency.
Not in the best
Two things that the government stinks at.
Not in the best interest of all the citizens of the country at all levels. I don't think that anybody, and it's curious to me, your point, Dana, because I heard complaints from the right today saying, oh, you know what? Rex Tillerson and ExxonMobil actually give money to Planned Parenthood. We didn't like that. Right? Oh.
Well, and there's some on the far right are saying, well, he actually said positive things about the Paris deal, the climate deal.
Yeah,
but I think that, Kimberly, he can move from being CEO of Exxon to being the Secretary of State and have different.
He certainly can
represent the interests appropriately.
Absolutely, and he was set to retire anyway from Exxon as CEO. That was coming up just in the beginning of next year. So now he's chosen to serve the country, and I have absolutely no doubt that he's going to put all of his efforts, best efforts forward, putting America first and making sure that we are well represented throughout the international community and respected by somebody who actually gets it done and has a tremendous record at Exxon.
I think he gets a big tax break for selling off all his riches.
This is important, and you're 100% right.
Yeah, I know.
As a cabinet member, you get an exemption. You have to divest. Okay, you can't put it in trust and hold it. You have to divest, and when you do, you're allowed a tax exemption on all the money. So in other words, if you have accumulated wealth,
because it's considered public service.
This is a lot.
So this is one of the big
reasons why some of these guys want to do it. No doubt.
So in this Christmas season, angels, everybody's an angel. Please wake up.
Well.
Poor Juan.
Putting Perry in charge of the Department of Energy, it's like putting Charlie Sheen in charge of your pornography. We know what's going on, but this is refreshing because the left has operated so long under the idea that their dorm rooms were heated by magical thinking and folk music. This is how the world works. All of these people that are being tapped have some kind of link to the real world, how things are made, not how things are thought of.
Right.
And that is a huge difference. And people aren't, I think that's why the left is convulsing, because you're seeing a shift from magical thinking to the hard, cold reality of doing things.
Right, from meta theory to practicality. And that's what I like.
Coming up, is the left trying to undermine President-elect Trump's election victory? We'll play the tape and let you decide when the 5 returns.
Welcome back. It's no secret that President-elect Donald Trump's election victory has blown the minds of liberals and anti-Trumpers everywhere. First, the recounts, then the claims of alleged Russian hacking. We should note, however, there is no evidence of the Russians interfering with the election. So you really have to wonder if the sore losers are just trying to undermine Mr. Trump's win.
The president-elect, in some of his political events, specifically said to the Russians, hack Hillary's emails.
The Electoral College and I have learned a lot in recent weeks about it. It was intended that the electors deliberate. One of the reasons why it exists is to protect against a foreign government from interfering in our elections. So, pretty stunning.
Isn't it time for him to step down? I mean, he has to step down before the inauguration, before they give him the nuclear codes. I mean, do we have to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag before we stand up to this guy?
Oh, brother. All right, Greg, can I start with you with the, if you want to take Joy Behar on, go ahead. But Obama making fun of, the Russians helped elect Donald Trump. He was the one who said to Mitt Romney, hey, the 80s want their foreign policy back.
Here's what we know the Russians didn't do. They didn't blame Benghazi on a video. They didn't let Hillary Clinton get a secret server. They didn't alienate the American public with identity politics. They didn't tell her to cruise through this election on her gender. They didn't tell her to lie. But having said that,
they didn't push the video.
They didn't push the video.
And they didn't call us or them deplorables.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But you can hold two competing thoughts. Hillary can suck eggs, be the worst candidate ever, but the Russians can still meddle because the Russians are the Russians. It's what the Russians do. So we can't have the foresight of goldfish. What goes around comes around. They will come after us, and we've got to be very careful about this and understand that we have to investigate, because if they still have something, they're going to use it. Russians will always use what they got. We cannot jettison our principles because we got what we want. We got Trump in. Yay. That doesn't mean we let the Russians off the hook.
Okay, Dana, Reince Priebus was on this morning, was on Fox and Friends, I believe, this morning, saying, look, the RNC was not hacked. We don't think we were hacked. There was an attempt at it. The CIA claims that there was a hack. FBI says no. The DNI said they don't see an actual hack.
Of the RNC.
Of the RNC, right.
But that's why I do think that this investigation is worthwhile, because you have several different intelligence apparati. Thank you. And they have a different opinion. That's why you have an investigation, if you want one, just to see, because I think both things can be true. I also think that at the same time, the Democrats can be really missing the reason that they lost. And I think that will hold them back from being winners in the future.
I hope they miss the reason. I really hope it.
One reason.
How could we miss Jim Comey? I don't know how you missed Jim
That's
Comey.
why.
That's one of the big reasons. But I think the Russians are a big reason. And the idea, what is so fascinating to me is that on the right now, the bottom line is, let's politicize this. If you are for Donald Trump, ignore the Russians. And let it be the Democrats' problems and charges of hypocrisy against them. What hypocrisy? Everybody at this table would agree that ISIS and Islamic terror is a threat to the United States. And that was Obama's point when he was talking to Romney about the Russians. But now it's, the Democrats never said a word about the Russians. How ridiculous is this? Anyway, my point to you is when
Can you just do me a huge favor? Sure. Can you explain, and I'm having a hard time understanding what the left is saying, how did the Russians influence the election by hacking into the DNC and not hacking into the
let me see. All those leaked emails that went to Podesta, you think that's a problem? And who
leaked?
Do you think? Yes, leaked by who? And who did
exactly.
the hacking?
We don't know who did that.
No, I think 17 intelligence agencies have said this was the Russians, but some people don't want to hear.
Go ahead, KG.
Yeah, listen, I mean, this is, look, nobody's saying don't pay attention and keep a close eye on Russia and make sure, because of course we're very concerned about cybersecurity. We're all very concerned about what's going on with China, with North Korea, and with the Russians in particular. The intelligence agencies have been consistent in keeping a close eye on Russia. This does not discount or explain the historic, catastrophic loss by the Democrats, by Hillary Clinton, for a poor candidate who was hugely corrupt, that had problems from the beginning, that thumbed her nose at the laws, thumbed her nose at the American people, and thought that she was too big to fail. With the Clinton Foundation, with the email servers, with the lies about Benghazi, all of it. That is why she was unelectable, and that is why she got smoked by President-elect Trump.
I find it unbelievable that people seem to forget. This is less than 1%. Decided in the last week of this election, and you say, terrible candidate. She was a flawed candidate, but guess what? She got almost 3 million more votes than Donald Trump.
And he got, due to 60
metropolitan cities like New
more
York.
Electoral college.
Right. I mean, okay, here's the thing. You can't blame the Russians for the fact that we got 30-plus governorships and we've got all these legislatures, we got all these congressmen and senators. Right. So Trump is, in a way, part and parcel of that trend.
Wave.
It's the wave. You can't say, the Russians just helped him and didn't help them. It's the wave that kind of went forward. However, I have to agree with Juan. If you see an elderly woman getting mugged, you know it's wrong. Is it less wrong because you don't like the elderly woman?
Is she getting mugged, or did she take a dive? Did she fall?
I think they tried to mug her
and say, "Hold on, I just fell. I'm suing this place."
Yeah.
Here's my point. We don't know. There is no definitive proof that whatever the Russians got that they gave to WikiLeaks wasn't leaked.
Eric,
that they
you're going to do a Donald Trump on us and say, I ignore all American intelligence. I don't respect American intelligence agencies.
All
American agents are
intelligence does not agree on that.
Oh, yes, they do.
Absolutely not.
Let me tell you, they agree. And not only that, the idea that you would say to American intelligence people, you know what, I don't even want to read your intelligence briefings. I don't believe you.
No.
That's crazy.
The people that I actually spoke to at the CIA this morning who said this has clearly been politicized to an ideological advantage. It is unfortunate. They're doing their job and being professionals. There is no facts, evidence, substantive evidence to prove that the Russians played a role and influenced the outcome of this election.
But this would not stop us. If this were reversed, we would have the muskets out right now, screaming. If Hillary had won because Canada helped her, are you kidding me? We would be going ape poop.
Yes,
you notice I didn't use the S word.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. And by the way, if that were the case, then throughout this whole election process, the Democrats see these emails, they don't amount to a hill of beans. Well, if they didn't, then you can't say that the Russians helped them win.
But Dana said this was about a movement for change, that people like the American men and women that felt they were left behind, they did come out in record numbers to support their candidate that was listening to them. I'm telling you.
New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio is offering city workers counseling for those feeling distressed or vulnerable following the election of Donald Trump. Yes, it's therapy because Trump won. Now, I get seeing my taxes go to help the poor, but to soothe the wimps? So while this jackass of a mayor treats mental illness, fake mental illness, what about the real stuff? Look out your damn window, Mayor dumbass. The city's homeless population is exploding. Even as the temperatures drop, bodies line the streets like some dystopian postcard from Snake Plissken. Most of these people are mentally ill or drug addicted. 1 million people in the city have substance abuse problems, which leads to liver disease, hepatitis, and HIV. God forbid you OD or suffer cardiac arrest on the street. With Manhattan's traffic, you'll die where you drop. Well done, Mayor. You're culling the herd the old-fashioned way. Since we've abandoned institutionalization to help those who can't help themselves, self-satisfied progressives champion murderous neglect as some sort of enlightened freedom. We ignore the insane in their private hell until they push tourists in front of trains. But hey, let's offer workers paid counseling because Trump's win threatens to undermine their vegan book club. Oh, God, what a jerk. That's a mayor who embraces identity over suffering, who puts politics before people. He's not just a hopeless fool, but a harmless one. A harmful one. He's getting me so mad.
That was the best monologue you've ever done.
I hate him.
Can we redo that last word?
Yes, but a harmful one. Kimberly, run for mayor.
Okay. Vote for me.
Yes.
Vote often. All right, here's the problem. I'm feeling distressed and vulnerable still after the fact that he's the mayor of New York City. This guy really is a tremendous disappointment. He's not only is he low energy, he doesn't start the day till 11 a.m.
Yes.
Unacceptable. He has really made a mockery of all the accomplishments and progress that we've had in New York City. To be honest, it was kind of a miracle he even got elected. It was like the lowest voter turnout ever.
Yeah.
And I would love for somebody strong and passionate about New York City that's not one of these political cronies like himself to come forward. Bodil for mayor. He is in fact running.
You know what, Eric? The reason why he can be mayor, he's a barnacle on the boat of success. Like you had Bloomberg, you had Giuliani. He's just there. He's like a crappy hood ornament on a Rolls Royce.
It's amazing how bad he is. Yes, I agree with everything you said about the homeless people, about the drug addicted people, about the
socialist,
mentally afflicted people as well. Let me take the business side of this for once. For a better part of 2 years now, you cannot get around in Manhattan. Now, I know there's something going on in Trump Tower right now, which is making things worse, and a tree over there that's making things bad. But for 2 years, a judge of how you run a city is how the traffic is when these things aren't going on. It's a disaster.
Care about.
This city is awful. You can't get in, you can't get out, businesses can't thrive. He's the worst. This is the worst planned city under de Blasio, and he blew it because Rudy cleaned the place up. Bloomberg loved Bloomberg. Mm-hmm. He kept the place running. De Blasio, I'm telling you, New York is falling apart because of this guy.
He is universally disliked by law enforcement. He has done nothing about the real problems of New York, Dana, the homelessness, the drug addiction, the traffic, everything. Can we get an adult in there, please?
Well, not unless people turn out to vote, because actually the turnout for his election was actually quite low, and he won that by like 90% of the vote. So yeah, if people really care, they're going to have to get out and vote, or he's going to have competition. The thing is also for this is that we've taken helicopter parenting into the workplace. Yeah. So once they actually enter the workplace, now you have to have helicopter employers. So you have to coddle them and make sure that they're okay. And it's not. If you look at any parenting book now, they're saying, and actually the Disney movie, the new one, Moana, whatever her name is, like one of the lessons in that movie is that you can't have parents doing everything for you, that you're going to have to like go out on your own. So like deal with it that Donald Trump won the election without taxpayer dollar funded counseling.
Juan, if election is causing you to seek therapy, you're hopeless, correct?
I don't know about therapy, but I must say there are a lot of people in America who are depressed over Donald Trump's election. That's a fact.
But my taxpayer money should not pay for that.
Well, I don't know. Do you pay for counseling for every other thing?
I will pay
for drug addicts and all the rest.
I will help the homeless get the help they need. I will not pay for that.
Well, in fact, I think there are polls that show that like more than 50% of Americans think they're depressed or saddened about this election. So,
no, but they're not getting taxpayer funded.
Well, I'm just saying. Yeah, but by the way, you guys all dump on de Blasio. I know, like the detective who's running for mayor. I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot going on here. People say,
running. He's
that's
a
what I'm
far
saying.
better individual, served this country.
You may feel that way, but I'm going to tell you something. There's some reason that, gee whiz, there's not a lot of people running out the door to run against Bill de Blasio.
Because we're actually busy and have jobs. Believe me, I would do it in 5 seconds.
This is a political town, and I will say this to Eric. New York's economy is generating jobs and profits like never before.
No help from him.
And I got to tell you something.
Why?
I am so frustrated with New York traffic.
Where's the money coming from?
It's from business.
One street.
No. It's
One
from
street,
business.
Wall Street, and the street's like a half a block long.
No, let me just tell you something. You walk around New York this time of year, it is splendid compared to D.C.
You know why?
You
have to walk.
You have to walk because you can't drive anywhere. It takes an hour and 15 minutes to get from
New York is a shining gem in America.
It's a paralyzed gem.
Yeah, I agree.
Nothing's moving.
I had to get out of my car today to walk over here because it just wouldn't move.
That is live. That's a live picture right now. Yeah. If you had some sort of city management, a city manager that could work that out.
That's not the point, Eric, because your point was this is Bill de Blasio's fault. You know whose fault this is?
Big Bird de Blasio.
Who shut down Times Square? I think his name is Michael Bloomberg.
That's not why, Juan.
Oh, yeah, it is.
He's got a construction project. He's got a road ripped up on every other street.
I agree, but you know what I think?
Like
I don't understand why Bloomberg and the like they want bike paths here and there.
I hate bike paths.
Why don't they get these trucks out of here during the day?
You go down here, you bump your head in the car. It's a whole situation. I'm telling you, sometimes I'm like, whoa, KG, where are you? Are you in Kandahar? Where are you? How could this be happening?
Right.
Yeah,
well, I just think we need better. But it's not de Blasio. You want to blame de Blasio?
You
act as if every other mayor.
It's the most mismanaged city in the world in the last 2 years.
Oh yeah, that's
terrible.
why it's doing.
Totally
if it's so
inefficient.
mismanaged,
Rising
buy me in because it's doing great.
Homelessness, drug addicted, confused.
Oh, stop. Yeah, I should visit some of these other towns.
New York's not winning
I got to
anymore.
tell you, it's getting bad. It's getting bad. I didn't touch the nerve here. Holy crap. All right, behold, the brand new besties. President-elect Trump meets with none other than Jesus himself, Kanye West. Details when the 5 returns.
You never know who's going to pop up at Trump Tower. This morning, the one and only Kanye West stunned reporters when he arrived for a meeting. TMZ released this photo from his face-to-face with President-elect Donald Trump. Here are the two after their sit-down.
Mr. Trump, Kanye, what did you guys discuss in your meeting today?
Just friends, and he's a good man. Doing well. Long time. We've been friends for a long time. Life.
West later tweeting he wanted to meet with Trump to discuss multicultural issues. Now, from what I understand, Kimberly, Kanye West was here, TMZ reported, looking for a psychiatrist, and he goes to see Donald Trump. Any connection?
Okay, I don't know about looking for a psychiatrist. I know that they've been friends a long time, and I like this kind of outreach. I think, and what Kanye said too is you've got to try and communicate and work with the other side, try to unite. I think that's a positive message. I'm glad that he's there. There's many others that are in his field that would not come forward and try to show respect for the president-elect and continue the message. But not only was Kanye there, but it was interesting because Bill Gates was there, and he actually compared the president-elect to Kennedy, to JFK, in a statement saying there can be a very upbeat message that Trump's administration is going to organize things, get rid of regulatory barriers, and have American leadership through innovation. I like this idea of working together for United America innovators, you people like Bill Gates, and how we need Warren Buffett to come on
Eric,
board.
is this like Hillary Clinton with Beyonce and Jay-Z? Is this all cultural now? Is this bigger than politics? It's just cultural?
I don't know. I'm not sure why he went. What was the purpose of the meeting? I know Kanye West was against Trump first, and then he became for Trump, and then he had a mental breakdown, and then does the guy just need the camera? Does he need the spotlight that badly? He'll just go seek it out wherever? Didn't make a lot of sense to me.
What do you think, Dana?
Well, I think that President Obama met with all of the celebrities, and the left rightly mocked the right when they had furrowed brows about all of it. And I think if somebody calls you up and they want to meet you and you're in the transition period and you've got time to do it, do it.
Greg?
Yeah.
They're putting out a record.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I just got off the phone with my sources, John Roberts, and he's actually got a car phone.
Clive is going to produce it.
Yeah, but he's got a car phone in his cruise, so it's really nice. But they're going to put out a record. It's going to drop. That's what the kids say. It's going to drop.
It's so hip of you to say
in
that,
2017. So
Somebody upgrade John Roberts.
One more thing coming up next.
Chevy.
It's time for one more thing. Congratulations to Abby Huntsman, named the official Fox and Friends Weekend co-host. She will make her official debut on Saturday. She's a great fixture here at Fox News, so congratulations to her. We look forward to watching her career.
She's fantastic.
Absolutely. Kimberly.
And
we love her father.
I'm still hoping she's Secretary of State. Oh.
Yeah, she's a real dog. I was really happy when we got her.
You're
at
next,
Fox.
KG.
She'll do a great job like she's been doing. Please get out of my shot, Greg. So I would like to wish a very happy birthday. Go away. To the oldest living American right now, Adele Dunlap of New Jersey celebrated her 114th birthday yesterday. Wow. She became the country's oldest person in July following the death of Goldie Mickelson of Worcester, Massachusetts, who passed away at the age of 113. She taught school before marrying. She raised 3 kids. Her husband worked for an insurance company, and he passed away in 1963. She's been alone by herself for a long time. Guess what? Her son, Earl, 86 years old. Oh, my God. Can you imagine this?
That's awesome. Happy birthday to her. Greg, you're next.
It sucks being the oldest person because it's just
because everyone waits for you to die.
Yeah, somebody else is waiting for you.
Is waiting for you to die.
Aren't you the oldest here?
I am. I got an article.
1 minute left.
I got an article on FoxNews.com. Best albums of the year. Everybody makes fun of this.
That is so
article.
photoshopped. You look way thinner.
On, you're next.
All right. So, baby, it's cold outside, but warm, exciting news for the Williams family. My youngest son, the Republican Rafi, got engaged this weekend, and it was elaborate. Let me tell you, started with Rafi being driven by his big sister to propose to Morgan. His girlfriend says he wasn't nervous. He surprised her while she was out running on the mall, the National Mall, and she happily accepted. To celebrate that night, we had the entire family, including all the future in-laws, together. Wow. Congratulations, Rafi, and congratulations to Morgan. Welcome to the family. We're so happy to have you.
Yay, right. Republicans do it
Very
better.
quickly, no time for my one more thing. Just to reiterate, John Roberts, congrats, and also Abby Huntsman, 2 great promotions. Congratulations.
All right, that's it for us. Special report right next.